All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So this week is a special Shabbat. It's called Shabbat Hagadol. So the name Shabbat Hagadol is the name given to the Shabbat that precedes Passover, Pesach. And so some rabbis explain that the name Shabbat Hagadol comes from the special Haftarah reading that our co-president Jeff will be reading for us tomorrow. The quote from Malachi is, "I will send the prophet Eliyahu to you before the coming of the great Hagadol and fearful day, and that will be the day of the coming of the redemption." So in our tradition, Eliyahu is the harbinger of the messianic era, of the coming time of redemption. So Elijah is the one who lights the way for us towards unity for all sentient beings on the planet, and teaches us about this hidden truth and this interconnection of all life that we're all learning a lot about nowadays. At least this is how I like to understand the place that Elijah takes in our tradition. And it is this search for the hidden light and then revealing it, which is a prominent theme not only in this week's Torah portion, Tzav, but also for the holiday of Pesach. So a little quote from the Torah portion for tomorrow. Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, the source of all life, speaks to Moses and says, "Command Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the Torah of the ascending offering, the offering on its stake upon the altar. All night and until morning the altar's fire shall burn, and it shall burn constantly, and it shall not go out." So our Torah portion continues with all these details about maintaining and sustaining our tabernacle, our sanctuary, a place where we meet God. And the focus here is on the fire that is on the altar, which leads my mind down pathways of light thought. And I think, what is the light? What is the flame that lights our lives? And how are we kindling this fire daily? So this Hasidic Rebbe, the Me'or Einayim, Rabbi Twersky, teaches us that this fire is first found in the light that is created on creation. With it, Adam was able to see from one end of the universe to the other. When Adam eats of the produce of the tree, this light disappears, and our tradition teaches us that the Blessed Holy One hides it away for the righteous of future generations. It had been directly visible, this infinite light, but God now hides it in the garments of Torah, which are also known as garments of light. When our text speaks of an ascending fire, we can learn that it is through Torah, which I will expand to the perennial wisdom that is found throughout all wisdom traditions, a person can tap into this light and rise upwards. How? This comes about by approaching this hidden light, veiled in the garments of Torah, and through engaging with texts, this hidden light becomes revealed. So we're on the precipice of Pesach, right? We'll be together on the second night, and journeying in this virtual sanctuary. It is the doorway of our liberation narrative, the Passover. This is the doorway where we will also open and meet Elijah. He is the revealer of hidden light. So we can think about Elijah as that aspect within us who helps us reveal the hidden light that's within. But before we are able to enter into Pesach, we are called upon to cleanse our space. Right? This is called bidikat Chametz, searching out Chametz. With the aid of a candle flame, we explore all the nooks and crannies of our lives, clearing out all of the Chametz, clearing out all of the fluff, the extraneous material, to make room. This is what we call spiritual spring cleansing, spiritual spring cleaning. So we all do it in our own way, right? Right? So figure out how you want to cleanse your space. Also, that helps to cleanse the inside. So, for me, sometimes cleaning the outside helps me clean the inside as well. I see that the candle that we use for the bidikat chametz, for searching for chametz, as a reflection of this fire that burns constantly in the sanctuary. And there's also that spark that is found within ourselves, within our lives, that animates us. Yes, this candle is calling upon us to get lit for life. To clean out all of the chametz hiding in the spaces of our body, so that we can clear these pathways, so that our own individual holy light can shine out. This is what I'm going to call a love light eternal. Healing and cleansing. So this is just an action-based practice for Pesach. You hadn't had a chance to cleanse your outside space, or you haven't had a chance to go inside and to check in with yourself. Well, now is a good time before Passover comes to do this little bit of accounting and reflecting and cleansing. If you need a little bit more of guidance, there's another practice that we can do to prepare us for Pesach through text. On Passover, we read Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs. So there's a tradition that teaches us that Shlomo HaMelech, Solomon the king, he wrote this book of remedies and healings. Okay? And people would read this book of remedy and healings, and it would take away all of their pain and suffering. And then people would stop connecting with each other and stop reaching out and connecting to God, and everyone was in their own silo. So tradition holds it that either King Hezekiah or Shlomo HaMelech took this book and hid it away and instead wrote the Song of Songs. So if you haven't read Song of Songs yet, you should pick it up. It's the original biblical erotica. Okay? It's a beautiful poetic love song about a lover, about two lovers. The rabbis talk about it as a metaphor for the relationship between the children of Israel, God wrestlers, and the source of our life, God. If you read it, you'll notice it is an intimate search and longing for loving relationship. Interestingly, God's name never appears in the Song of Songs. You'll notice also when we read the Haggadah, Moses' name never appears in the Haggadah. Going back to Song of Songs, the rabbis teach that God's name is hidden, another aspect of the hidden life. So you notice, not only is the metaphor here all about light, revealing light, but also about revealing hidden names. The name that they find for God in the Song of Songs is called Shalhevet Yah. Shalhevet Yah, you can hear the end, Yah, Yud Hey, and we know Yud Hey is a name for God. Shalhevet Yah in English means a devouring flame. Moses is hidden in the Haggadah. God is hidden in Shir HaShirim. And here we are called upon to reveal the hidden parts of our life that block us from letting our light shine forth. So, my intention for Pesach this year is all about looking for these hidden aspects in my life that are blocking my light from shining. So this holiday, we know, commemorates the birthing of the children of Yisrael. Liberation from bondage. So when I see all of these light-based practices speckled across the pages of our texts, from the Bidikat Chametz to this week's Torah portion, Tzav, kindling this flame, right? To the own little light of ourselves, it reminds me about what we are called to do and what it means to be a light in this world. That in this liberation movement, if everyone isn't free, we are not free. That means justice for all beings. This means that love is a birthright for all people. that a hidden holy light exists within each and every one of us. These are the truths that I am experiencing when studying this week's Torah portion and also the holiday of Pesach. This is what it means to be a light in this world. This is what it means to do the cleansing and the searching. The birth canal of the Sea of Reeds will split. A riff-raff, motley crew, free people will walk through on the other side singing songs, right? The first thing that happens when we meet freedom is we burst out in song. This travel will take us 49 days from the Sea of Reeds to the footsteps of Mount Sinai. And we know that Mount Sinai is a unification moment, and Mount Sinai is achievable in every single moment when we all wake up and realize that justice means justice for everybody, that love is a birthright for everybody, so we don't have to necessarily wait for Shavuot to celebrate the unification moment, but we have 49 days right now to get ourselves ready, to get our community ready, to understand what it means to be a light into this world. It is at Mount Sinai that the children of Israel will learn what this altar of fire is all about that must burn constantly. And we must also see that each one of us is the altar of fire that needs to burn constantly, and we need to tend to the kindling of this flame. The Talmud teaches us that this fire descends from heaven upon the altar, but it is our mitzvah in order to kindle the flame. And for the Hasidic masters, this rule applies to all areas of life. That the gifts of life are bestowed upon us from above, but it's God's desire that we add to them from the product of our own initiative. How can we increase that light? How can we keep that light and make it burn brighter? From the second night of Pesach, we have 49 days to practice this kindling and this uniting of these flames. It's a 49-day laboratory. Seven weeks, 7 days each week to practice this. The Omer gives us 49 different ways to prepare for Mount Sinai. 49 different ways. At the end of these 49 days is Shavuot, the holiday that celebrates the receiving of Torah. Torah, not only meaning the ethical guidelines of our tradition, but also receiving wisdom and enlightenment, awakening to holiness, awakening to the work we have to do to care for this earth and all people, of seeing the interconnectedness of the little candle that searches for Chametz, the fire on the altar in the tabernacle, and our own inner light. The Kabbalists use the sefirot, the tree of life diagram, to guide us through this illuminated journey. Our first week is called Chesed, and we are called to examine our own potential for loving kindness. Learning about our potential to love without limits, unconditional love, non-judgmental love, and doing the best we can with this examination, this exploration. Our task is to see how we might show our love to someone in a new way, or reconnect with someone you have been out of touch with, or tending to a relationship in need of mending. We don't need to find Solomon's book of healing. We begin with a little candle and sweeping the corners of our home. We continue with reading Shir HaShirim, one of the greatest love poems, opening our hearts, taking stock and checking in, lovingly kindling, letting our inner candle slowly grow and mirror the flame constantly burning in the tabernacle. Allow Pesach to spark the light of love within. Watch the children searching for the afikomen, and let it be a reminder of the playful aspect of this journey, that within each of us is a child longing to surrender in God's loving embrace. And on this Shabbat Hagadol, this great Sabbath, may we make space to welcome in the light that Adam first saw, that the priests kindle, and that always rests and can be found within each of us. Shabbat Shalom.